We all love our pets, right? But let's be real for a second. Not all pets are created equal. I mean, we know a goldfish isn't a golden retriever, but the differences go so much deeper than that. Today, we're going to unpack a new way of thinking about pet complexity, and we're going to see exactly why, when it comes to what they really need, a parrot is absolutely not a dog.
So let's start with a question we've probably all asked ourselves at some point. What actually makes a pet difficult? Is it the potty training, the barking, the cost? The chewed up shoes, the surprise vet bills that always seem to come at the worst time? Those are all real challenges for sure, but they're really just symptoms. We're going to dig a little deeper to get to the root cause of what makes some pets so much harder than others.
And to really get a handle on this, we need to introduce a new idea, a new category. It's called the complex companion animal, or CCA for short. Now, this isn't just another buzzword. It's a tool that can totally change how we look at the animals we bring into our homes. Okay, so what in the world is a CCA? Well, the official definition is a companion species whose needs are so demanding that the average home and welfare infrastructure routinely fail them. The key here isn't about bad pets or even bad owners, not at all. It's about a fundamental mismatch between what an animal is biologically programmed to need and the environment that we can realistically provide. So how do you spot one of these complex companion animals out in the wild, or, more likely at the pet store? Well, it turns out there's a pretty straightforward litmus test. Think of it as a practical 5-point checklist you can use to figure out an animal's true complexity. Let's break it down. First, you've got high cognitive and emotional needs. These are the super smart, deeply feeling animals. Second, they have these powerful, wild instincts that are just really hard to satisfy in a living room, like an instinct to fly for miles every single day. Third, there's a really long lifespan, which can turn a small problem into a decades-long issue. Fourth, they need specialized medical care that isn't always easy to find or afford. And finally, and this is a big one, there's documented scientific proof that these animals, as a group, just aren't doing well in typical pet situations. All right, theory's great, but let's put this checklist to the test with our first case study, the good old dog. Now, are dogs complex? Oh, you bet they are. They check a lot of those boxes. But, and this is a huge but, their complexity is heavily buffered. There's something protecting them, and us. That something is what we call the domestication buffer. See, for thousands and thousands of years, we have been shaping dogs. We've literally changed their genetics to make them more compatible with us, selecting for sociability, for a tolerance of our weird human lives. Domestication doesn't erase their needs, not at all, but it acts like a bridge between their world and ours. And the other half of that buffer, it's the massive support system we've built around them. Think about it. If your dog has an issue, there is an entire industry at your fingertips. Vets, trainers, groomers, dog walkers, daycares, behaviorists, pet insurance, the list goes on and on. This huge infrastructure is a safety net that helps us meet their complex needs. Okay, now let's jump to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Let's talk about the parrot. If the dog is the poster child for a complex but supported animal, the parrot is the poster child for a complex and frankly dangerously unsupported one. I really want you to let this next part sink in. Parrots are not domesticated animals. That gorgeous macaw in someone's living room, biologically, it's a wild animal. It has all of its wild programming completely intact. The need for a flock, the instinct to fly huge distances, to forage for food all day. We are essentially asking a wild animal to be happy in a cage in our house. And that's a recipe for disaster. And then there's this number, a lifespan of up to 70 years, sometimes more. That's not a pet commitment, that is a multi-generational legacy. An owner will almost certainly go through major life changes in that time, moving, getting married, having kids, getting sick. This practically guarantees the bird will be tossed around, maybe multiple times, which is unbelievably stressful for an animal like this. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to this quote from the researchers who study them. They are now openly questioning the very suitability of parrots as pets. Why? Because the average home is just not equipped to meet their basic biological and behavioral needs. The science is screaming that we have a serious problem. And here is the heartbreaking result of that mismatch. Look at this. The single biggest welfare problem for parrots, 40%, is social isolation. These are flock animals. They're wired for constant social interaction, and we keep them alone in a cage. After that, you've got poor housing, a general lack of owner knowledge, and not enough mental stimulation for their brilliant minds. This chart right here is what unsupported looks like.
So we've looked at the two extremes. We have the complex but supported dog and the complex and unsupported parrot. So let's bring it all together for the final showdown, the one slide that really captures the most important takeaway here. And here it is, the final verdict. Dogs? Yes, they are absolutely complex animals, but they are supported by thousands of years of domestication and a massive human infrastructure built to help them. Parrots? They are also incredibly complex, but they are critically, dangerously unsupported. They are wild animals whose needs are fundamentally at odds with life in our world.
So why does any of this matter? Is this CCA thing just some academic term? No, absolutely not. This is about taking our idea of pet ownership from just a casual concept and turning it into a matter of active conscience. Because truly understanding and respecting an animal's deep, innate complexity before bringing it home is the single best way to prevent suffering. It helps us avoid the kind of welfare disasters we just saw with parrots, and it prevents the mutual heartbreak that happens when people have to give up a pet because they realize, too late, they just can't meet its needs. So I want to leave you with this one final thought. When we look at an animal and think about making it part of our family, what are we really choosing? Are we choosing a companion whose needs actually align with our world? Or are we choosing to take on a lifetime of profound complexity that we might not be prepared to handle? Really thinking about that question, well, that just might be the most important choice we can make for them and for us.